I thought, oh, how wonderful it would be to have nerves of steel. Nerves of steel where nothing will bother me if, because I just felt like I was just, so had no skin, no thick skin, and I just like, man, how could I get that? Well, then when I started. Good morning, everyone. I'm Destiny Dawn, and this is the Destiny Dawn Show. Well, today we're talking about practical things that you can do for anxiety and for just get feeling better, to not be depressed, to help your mood. Because I know that as parents, when we go through these difficult situations with our children, it can bring us a lot of pain. It can make us feel really down and sad and depressed and really just deflate our mood. And these are some of the practical tips that it helped me with as I was going through the pain and also just all of the hurt from the hate from the enemies. And this really helped elevate my mood. Two things that I absolutely had to do whenever to help calm my nerves was number one is peppermint oil. Just taking some of that, putting lots of drops of it into your water and taking it that way. And if you put it in hot water, you just only need a drop or two. So it'll save a lot. If you just put it in that hot water, it'll get into your system a lot better. You can breathe it in. It really opens up your sinuses. But a lot of times I would just put it in cold water and I'd put several drops in there. I would literally drink peppermint water all day long by just putting drops constantly, shaking the bottle, putting it into the water that I was drinking. And it really does help calm your nerves. As a matter of fact, when I was in a very nervous situation, like if you're about to get up and speak in front of people, if you have that in your drink, go ahead and get it started a couple of days ahead, get it in your system. And I would say that it would take my nerves from 100 down to like 25%. I mean, you still have nerves and you need those nerves there for a reason. If you're going to be, speaking in front of people, you want to make sure you're saying the right thing. So there's a reason to have nerves, but it will take it down to about 25%. It has been my experience. So it's a huge help. It really strengthens your nerves or calms your nerves. So peppermint oil is the number one, and well, right up there with peppermint oil is B12. B12, it helps your nerves so much. It helps anxiety, it helps depression, it really increases your mood, helps you a lot. I thought I was taking mine every day and I wasn't even low on B12. And actually, sometimes the lab work would say I was high in it, but I felt like when I was high in B12, I actually felt really good. So I don't know if you can always go by exactly what those ranges are on the lab work, but um, that B12 just, I couldn't have survived without it. Now, B12 is a bacteria in your stomach, in your gut makes B12. So, anybody can be low on B12 because, in medication and meat actually kills the B12 bacteria in your body, the ones that make it. So, having low B12 is just you're missing that bacteria that produces the B12. One thing that helps produce B12 is whole wheat sprouted bread. And I love to make bread. And when I have time, I do. And I'd love to be able to show it on this channel sometime. Maybe I could do that. But that has lots of B vitamins in it, which is good for our gut. And that's why we're told that, bread is good for the heart because it's good for your mind. Your heart is your mind, and your gut is your second brain. And so your microbiome, your gut, the bacteria that's in there is responsible for your mood. And if you feel happy or sad or anxious or calm, that bacteria in your gut, all those different little creatures in there. Those are the things that are responsible for whatever system you have, whatever ecosystem, whatever you're feeding is what's going to grow there. And whatever you have the most of is what you're going to crave because they're craving it and you're eating it. You're eating whatever they're craving. So if you have, whether it's bacteria or fungi or viruses or, whatever microbes are in that microbiome, whatever they want to eat is what you want to eat. And so whatever you starve out, you'll starve them out if you don't feed them that. And then the ones that you want to feed and you want to grow, you feed them the food that they want. There are certain bacteria that like sugar, and there are certain bacteria that like healthy food. And the ones that like sugar really make us feel sad, actually. And we keep feeding, thinking we're going to feel better, and we don't. Because sugar really lowers the immune system and really lowers our mood, actually. So having the B12, the bacteria that produces the B12 is very important. That was my number one and my number two. Both of those, B12 and peppermint oil, that helps so much. And the other thing you can do is take probiotics, which are actually putting that bacteria into your gut, that good bacteria. So that would be another thing. Or you can even eat foods that grow good bacteria, because taking the probiotics is live cultures that you're putting in your stomach. But you can also eat the foods, which would be prebiotics. It's the food that feeds the probiotics. It's the food that feeds the good bacteria. So putting that into your body, the greens. Greens are like eating sunlight. They have chlorophyll in them. So you're eating the sunlight. And they're just so healthy. Not only do they strengthen your body, they strengthen your nerves and they strengthen your mood. They make you feel good. They actually counteract sugar. So I like to make green smoothies, and I could show you a video on how to do that one day. But they really, those greens, if you can get them into your system, and I put fruit in it so it tastes really good. I did a green smoothie class one time, and this guy the very next day after me showing how to do a green smoothie, he went out and bought a Vitamix blender. That is how he was just so excited, because I let them taste it and it tasted good to him. He knew it was good for him, and he's this big burly guy, and he was young too, and he just went out and bought him this blender the very next day. It was awesome. So another thing that you can do is take calcium magnesium. There's actually a brand called Calm, and you can get it at your local health food store. You can get the peppermint oil there too. Just make sure it's the kind you can ingest. And so whenever you take the calcium magnesium, you can take it at night to help you sleep. It also is a laxative because it kind of calms you and calms your stomach, and it relaxes you. So you can take that to help you sleep at night. The peppermint oil, peppermint tea can help you sleep at night. So these are just very calming things that you can do. Also, just not eating sugar. Sugar just really it just doesn't help our mood at all. And one thing, if you're addicted to sugar, which is easy for that to happen. I've been addicted to it before, and I just have to get myself back on track. Sometimes when we're busy and when you're just wanting something quick, just to help you, give you quick energy, sometimes, we'll reach for the easy stuff or the quick energy. But it's better to get things like potatoes and things that will, beans and oatmeal, things that will give you that longer, span of energy that doesn't go so quick. But the sugar is definitely something that lowers our immune system. But what counteracts that craving for sugar is the greens. Once you get those greens in your system, if you do green smoothies for like 10 days, or if you don't want to make green smoothies, get the green powder. It's not going to taste as good, but it's convenient. And you get those greens in your system for about 10 days, you'll feel really good. You will feel a lot less anxiety and a lot less stress. That sugar causes stress and anxiety. It lowers our immune system, but the greens counteract it, and they make you not want the sugar. It makes you actually, any bitters, bitter doesn't taste good, but you can grow to like it, and any of the bitters counteract the sweet and makes you not want to eat the sweet. Another thing that you can do is to fast. Fasting will help, but you have to start out slow. You have to start out not going out to eat, not eating packaged foods, and get on healthier foods for a week or two. And then slowly, start getting the greens into your diet. And then eventually you can just go without food for a few days. And that will change your taste buds and shrink your stomach to where you're eating healthier and you're eating less. And that can completely change your diet. But your diet has a lot to do with the way that you feel. Another really good practical thing, and it doesn't matter what age you are or what gender you are, but that is to do strength training. That is to get you some dumbbells or a barbell and go in there and find you a little place in your living room and set you up a little weight, some weights where you can do some exercises. You can lift, with your arms, do some squats, but it doesn't matter if you're 90 years old. Anybody, you can do 2 or 3 pounds or 5 pounds or whatever you can do, but you need to have muscle in your body because those muscles, they hold your nerves in place. I remember whenever I felt one time like I just wanted to just fall apart. I just felt like I feel like a basket case of nerves. I feel like I'm so fragile and frazzled that just anything is just going to make me cry. And I wanted to feel strong and I wanted to feel confident. And I thought, oh, how wonderful it would be to have nerves of steel. Nerves of steel where nothing will bother me if, because I just felt like I was just, so had no skin, no thick skin, and I just like, man, how could I get that? Well, then when I started working out more, which I have most of my life, but on and off, but just started working out more. And I started realizing that when you build muscle and you get muscle in your body and you have strength, those muscles are holding those nerves together. And so it strengthens your nerves. To strengthen your muscles strengthens your nerves. It makes them tougher. It makes them resilient. You know how you have like a wire, like if you ever had an electrical wire and there's that coating around the outside and sometimes that coating comes off, it's like a sheath coating. Well, that's what our nerves are. It has a coating around our nerves. If your nerve is the wire, there's a coating around that nerve and the rubber, and it really helps as like a shock absorber so that whenever something bumps you or gets to you, it doesn't get to your nerve, it doesn't get on the inside and just come apart and start being frazzled. So that is what the strength training does, is it builds up those nerves and that coating around the nerves so that when something bumps you or bothers you emotionally, it doesn't really, it doesn't get to the nerve. It's got that thicker coating on it. So strength training builds that covering, that coat on your nerves. It makes it tough. It's like, that didn't really hurt. I mean, it's like, barely even felt that. You got all this shock absorber and they're like, go ahead, I barely even felt that. You feel it, but it's more like you've got all this big old, like you're wearing a big old suit, with like big old marshmallow arms and stuff. It just feels like it doesn't hurt you, like Michelin Man, you felt it, but you barely felt it compared to if you didn't have all that coating on your nerves, you just barely touch it and you're like, so it really does make a difference. And how I know that is because when I started working out with weights, I'm like, wow, I can tell a difference. Things don't bother me so much anymore because the used to things would, everything would bother me. And the first time I ever felt anxiety was whenever I'd really never had anxiety before, but the first time I ever experienced it was whenever my 2 children were in the 12th grade and they were graduating and they were about to embark on their life. And my job as a mom was coming to an end or changing. And as that was happening, I began to really get anxious about what life was going to look like now, I guess for myself and for them. But like, it was so much uncertainty. It was just uncertainty of not knowing what's coming, what's going to happen, and what are they going to do with their lives? And are they going to embark and launch well? And so that was the first time I would feel nervous for no reason. And if I wasn't busy doing something, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. And I had anxiety, just nervous all the time. It is not a good place to be. It is not somewhere where you can function. You cannot function. And I feel so sorry for people who have it. Like my daughter struggled with it, my brother struggles with it. And there are better ways. Marijuana is not the only way. I mean, there are better ways. And I've never done that, but my brother did. And so there are better ways. And so hopefully I gave you some practical tips on how to do that and how to overcome your anxiety. Oh, another really good one is to lay in the sunshine. That's what my daughter did a lot. And laying out in the sun, even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes a day, is not going to hurt you. You need that sunlight. Whenever that sun hits your skin, it produces vitamin D. And vitamin D is not something you get from your diet. I think mushrooms might have some, but there's not a lot of foods that do. But the way you get it, it is actually a hormone, and it's produced in your body as the light touches your skin. So you really need to get out in the sunlight for 15 or 20 minutes a day, expose as much of your body as you can to it, shorts and a short sleeve shirt. And I know some people, this is controversial for some people, but I'll go ahead and say that one reason why I'll go to the tanning bed is because it does release those hormones and endorphins in your body like the sun does, because it mimics the sun. So, like I've got lights on me right now, and they're not UV lights, but I guess any light, maybe it doesn't have to be UV. But I just know when I got in the tanning bed, I always felt so good. It just made me feel so good. It's like you can't not be happy when you're in the bright light and the sunshine. And so the sun's not always out, and so it's nice to be able to go there and get some sunshine. I always felt so much better. And as a matter of fact, the sun cleanses you. So whenever you go outside, and that's why people are afraid because of skin cancer and things like that. But it's because the sun sterilizes and it sanitizes and it brings everything on the inside to the surface. So it's just cleansing your body. And as a matter of fact, a lot of those sunscreens, if you look on the ingredients, it tells you it has carcinogens in it. So those are cancer causing. The sunscreen is cancer causing. So you need to find a good sunscreen. That is, if you go to badger.com, they have really good sunscreen that doesn't, it's just basically zinc and like a coconut oil, and they have some that has just a clear where it doesn't look so white on you, because a lot of times it looks white from the zinc, but you can put some clear on, and it's only 15 or 20 minutes a day. So I would encourage you to do that. That shouldn't hurt you. Or even if it's indirect light and you put a hat on, you can get some, sit under the shade and get some indirect sunlight. You'll feel better. It really does work. And so I encourage you to use some of these practical tips. And in my next video, we are talking about empty nest syndrome because that is something that I struggled with. That's the first time I had anxiety, was empty nest syndrome. So if you're a mom who's facing that, you might want to watch this next video. I'll see you then.